What's a paranoid habit that actually ended up saving your life? I was standing in the parking garage fumbling with my keys when I noticed my car door was already unlocked. My hand froze on the handle and my heart started pounding against my ribs. I always lock my car. I check it 3 times before I walk away because my therapist says I have obsessive tendencies. I stepped back from the vehicle and felt my phone slip from my sweaty palm onto the concrete. The sound echoed through the empty garage like a gunshot. I crouched down to pick it up, and that's when I saw the shadow move inside my backseat. My whole body went rigid and I pressed myself against the pillar behind me. Someone was in my car. Someone was waiting for me to get in. I grabbed my phone and started backing toward the elevator with my eyes locked on that shadow. My coworkers had been making fun of me for years about my paranoid habits. I always check my backseat before I get in. I always park under lights. I always walk with my keys between my fingers like some kind of suburban Wolverine. My sister told me I watched too many crime documentaries. My mother said I was going to give myself an ulcer from all the worrying. My ex-boyfriend broke up with me partly because he couldn't stand how long it took me to leave any parking lot. I would circle my car twice and peer through every window before unlocking the doors. People rolled their eyes at me constantly. They laughed behind my back at work. They called me paranoid like it was a disease I should be ashamed of having. But standing in that garage watching a human shape shift in my backseat, I had never been more grateful for my broken brain. I convinced myself at first that maybe I was seeing things in the dark. I told myself it was probably just a jacket I left back there or a shadow from another car. I took 2 steps toward my vehicle and the shape moved again. This time I saw the outline of shoulders and a head ducking down below the window line. My legs started shaking so badly I had to grab the pillar to stay upright. I pulled up my phone and opened the camera with trembling fingers. I zoomed in on my backseat through the rear window and saw a man's face staring back at me through the screen. He was wearing dark clothes and holding something metallic in his hand. I turned and ran toward the elevator so fast I tripped over my own feet and crashed into a parked car. The alarm on that car started screaming and echoing through the entire garage. I heard my car door slam open somewhere behind me. I scrambled to my feet and sprinted for the stairwell instead of waiting for the elevator. I could hear footsteps pounding on concrete behind me getting closer. I shoved through the stairwell door and started climbing as fast as my legs would carry me. He yelled something I couldn't understand. I made it up 2 flights before I heard the door below me crash open. My lungs were burning and my vision was starting to blur around the edges. I burst through the door onto the main floor and ran straight into a security guard doing his rounds. I grabbed his arm and started screaming that someone was chasing me from the garage. He pulled out his radio and called for backup while pushing me behind him toward the building entrance. The stairwell door flew open and the man from my car stumbled through looking wild and desperate. The security guard drew something from his belt and shouted for him to stop. 2 more guards came running from the lobby with flashlights bouncing off the walls. The man turned and sprinted back toward the stairwell, but one of the guards tackled him before he made it through the door. I watched them pin him to the ground while he thrashed and screamed. His hand opened and something silver clattered across the tile floor. It was a knife with a blade longer than my forearm. The police found zip ties and duct tape in my back seat along with the knife he had been holding. They told me he had disabled my car alarm and picked my lock earlier that evening. He had been waiting in my back seat for over an hour according to the parking garage cameras. The detective said most people would have gotten in without checking and never seen him until it was too late. She said my paranoid habit was the only reason I was standing there talking to her instead of being a missing persons case. They arrested him and found out he had done this before in 3 other cities. I sat in the police station wrapped in a blanket and shaking for hours after it was over. My mother came to pick me up and held my hand the whole drive home. She never called me paranoid again. I still check my back seat every single time.